Hey folks, so tonight I'm going to be reading Destiny, Step Into Your Purpose by T.D Jakes. And I'm going to be reading chapter 1. Instinct plus purpose equals destiny. Step beyond instinct. As I quietly stepped onto the elevator and gently pushed the L button to return to the lobby, the incredible blessing I just experienced held me spellbound. On the elevator ride down, I pondered the glimpse into history just shared with me by the legendary Mrs. Coretta Scott King during her last days of health and vitality. We had enjoyed a lunch in her elegant Atlanta penthouse suite, where she lived during her elder years with dignity and class. As we dined, Mrs. King retold many of her amazing experiences from the bird's eye perspective of her deepest reflections. The memories she shared were moments I had witnessed only through newsreels and history books. She guided me down a hallway decorated with gripping images reflecting a life on the edge of death, yet illuminated by passion and conviction. She shared what it was like during her years with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., including many moments of peril. As she recalled heart-wrenching experiences, she spoke with the compassion of a mother, somehow everyone's mother, and not just the mother of her four enigmatic, intriguing progeny. One of the many topics we discussed that day was a piercing question I posed, a subject considered taboo by many. I asked her why she never remarried. Before responding, she looked at me as if my question was actually rather foolish. Mrs. King smiled and almost giggled when she responded. Martin was a tough act to follow. Indeed, he must have been. Few men have ever affected the culture, the country, and the world as Dr. King did. But what she said next took my breath away. I was called to be his wife, she said. It was my destiny to stand beside him. This woman, whose legendary singing voice merited a career of its own, whose speaking skills and intellect qualified her for many roles, clearly perceived her destiny. Mrs. King could have been anything she wanted, from university president to entrepreneur, yet she chose to support the civil rights movement, underscoring the mission and keeping alive the dream of her martyred husband. She shared so many experiences about her life. Little did I realize she actually was reflecting on them from the posture of her imminent demise. Only in retrospect did I consider her small plate of slowly consumed fruits and her contentment watching me enjoy the ample offering of culinary delights prepared for me. Her contented smile betrayed the gravity of her condition, which I knew to be a battle with cancer, and one she would shortly lose. Or did she really lose at all? Her smile taught me the value of contentment with a life well lived, a life that had run its course. Coretta Scott King lived comforted by her belief that despite the turbulence of her journey, she had lived on course with a destiny far more important than the waves of grief and tumult she experienced in the life and in the murder of her husband. She was at peace. If only you and I could replicate her resolve in our own lives. Could it be that we allow the condition in our lives to distract us from the meaning of our lives? Is it possible we don't spend enough time checking the dials and reading the compass of destiny and its intrinsic pull on the human soul? If we are wise, we will see the predestined purpose we were created for, and in our brief lifespan, find it and do it. It is my hope that each of us will be free from the purposeless living that causes so many to stumble aimlessly through life. Like Mrs. King, we all were created to fulfill some role only through which we can find the great elixir of contentment and courage. Whatever the assignment, death loses its license to threaten those who are certain we have lived before we face its clutching grasp. As the elevator descended the 39 stories to the lobby, I reflected on the fact that I, too, have lived a life to which I felt drawn. I have pulled I have been pulled by a call that has drawn me from the mundane acquisition of life's mementos to the far more rewarding task of doing something with my life that only I could uniquely accomplish. Instinct is only the first step. Sometimes we are amazed by what the human beings can endure. Looking at the life of Mrs. King, we wonder how she withstood the challenges of raising her children practically alone. The death threats, the bombings, and the relentless FBI probes. What motivates a person to find contentment in a life of struggle, as Nelson Mandela did during his nearly 27 years in South African prison? When we watch people fully engaged in their purpose, it's confirmation that God has given each of us a destiny. How else could one person be so fascinated by the accuracy of numbers while another is totally obsessed with the accuracy of words? What allows you to have great interest in something that bores other people to tears? Why are you able to pick up anything and fix it, from a clock to an automobile, while other people should be arrested for even picking up a hammer? Why are you able to devote countless hours to reading a book, while other people will never know the storyline if it's not on video? The gift or desire that God has wired you to express is unique to you. Others can't understand how you do what you do, but neither can you understand how they act in their gifts. Why do you get angry when you see certain things not done properly? It's your instinct. You are irritated by the fact that you know it could be done better. I remember reading a story about an Olympian who was charged with a serious crime. After he was released on bond, the first thing he did was to resume his workout routine. As I was reading the story, I thought, if it were I under the public microscope for that kind of crime, no way I would be spending my time working out. But then I considered the fact that this man was a champion athlete, and real champions cannot help but do what they are gifted to do. It is their therapy. It is how they fortify themselves. You are a champion when you overcome adversity and go back to doing what you were doing before. The drive to do what you are good at is instinct. It's what God has created you to do. The kind of instinct given to God's highest creation is not the same as the instinct that causes a sea turtle to make her way to the ocean shoreline to lay her eggs and then to return to sea. Human instinct is an action. Human instinct in action is a pure joy to behold. It's like a work of art in motion, like watching Michael Jordan dunk a basketball or listening to a hypnotic melody offered by violin virtuoso Ishak Perlman.